Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome to Mentor Monday. Mentor Monday is your weekly microdose of encouragement, inspiration, and miracle grow on your potential as a coach. If you would jump into the chat, let us know that you are here. That's what we want right here. See that? Let us know you're here. Tell us where you're joining us from and what you're excited about in your life. Also, I want you to include your questions. Today is, well, it's a Q&A for coaches. And so we've got some questions that were sent in ahead of time that I'm excited about asking, but I will answer questions that you guys place live in the stream as well. So let me say hello to people who are saying hello to me. Natasha is joining us from Leander, Texas. I believe that I'm pronouncing that right. Paul is joining us from Texas. How's it going, Paul? So again, if you would jump in right now, jump in, see that right there? Jump into the chat. Tell us where you are joining us from, and also give us your questions for today. And like I said, I'm going to do my best to answer anything, and it's anything that is a coaching skill related question or anything on the business side. You know, if you're struggling with any kind of area, whether it is working with clients or in getting your business up and going or getting your business to the next level for that matter, we want to be able to help you on that. And so that would be great. I just want to make sure, hopefully everybody is hearing me okay over there. I'm having a little bit of trouble seeing if, yeah, it looks like it's working okay over here. I think it is anyway. So it looks like we're all good. And unless you guys tell me otherwise, then we're all good. Let me say hello to a couple more people. Alexis is joining us from Crawfordsville, Indiana. Andres is joining us from South America. And Paul says, welcome everyone to the treasure chest of life coaching information. All right. Well, I got the trusty whiteboard out. I'm going to do my best to answer all the questions that we get within an allotted time. And I'm going to do my best to be as robust as I can with answers, but I'm also going to try to do my best to navigate that so that we can answer as many questions as possible. And who else do I need to say hello to? Raina from Florida. Welcome. All right. So let me jump in really quickly on the front end to some of these questions that I see here. Let's start with this one talking about a website. And cool. So the question is, what should I include, or should I include certain things on my website to draw in more business? Yes, you should. And what I'm going to try to do, because I've got a couple of questions that are along a similar vein. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to answer both of those questions in one. Because again, and so what I'm going to do then, in order to do that, let me go to the whiteboard really quick. I'm going to try to I'm going to try to write down a couple of these things, and then maybe I can actually show you what they look like so that you kind of have a little bit of an idea. What I'm going to do really quickly is I'm going to switch whiteboards. Now we have a course inside of our Jumpstart program called and you'll love the name of it. It's called Brand Camp. And what we do in Brand Camp, and this is kind of one of the things that you actually get in Brand Camp, is it's a wireframe of a website. And basically what I do is I walk you through what do high converting websites, engaging websites that you can actually build a relationship with your ideal client. You can actually attract them. I have all of these components actually in a wireframe. And what we do actually in our Jumpstart program is when anybody builds a website out, what we do is that we go back, we go to their website, and as soon as they get it done, we will give you feedback on anything that you're working on, you know, to make sure that all of those elements are there and it's as effective as it can be. And so we spend a lot of time doing that on the marketing side, and we're really the only school that I know of that actually does that. And we've been really successful at helping coaches build out engaging websites. No, I don't build your website for you, but we know the components that a website really needs so that you're accomplishing what you want to accomplish. Now, having said that, we have to think about, before we talk about the components that are in there. Let me see if I can just get a white page up really quick. What we have to think about when you're building out a website is, what are the, your overall goal for your website. And then, but inside of that goal, you're going to have objectives in it. And what do I mean by that? Because some of you think that all these words mean the same thing, and they don't. And a lot of coaches get that stuff mixed up. First of all, you've got an overall goal, and probably your overall goal is probably going to be get clients, right? Your overall goal for your website. And so, granted, we're talking specifically about a website right now. Your overall goal, that big target that you've got, your overall goal is to get clients. But in order to get clients, you've got to have some objectives that you are accomplishing to get you to that goal. Because here's the thing, is that in most cases, so let's say that 100 people go to your website. We have 100 people go to your website. You guys could probably guess that when those people go to your website the very first time, it's probably not going to be a high percentage of those people who go to your website the first time are instantly going to become clients. So what we've got to understand, and I'm not, let's just be real here. All the websites that you go on a daily basis. What percentage of all the websites that you go to on a daily basis have something to sell and you don't buy anything from them? But you might visit them, you might look at it and everything else. And so what we have to understand is that when somebody comes on our website, the website is supposed to serve us in a couple of different ways. Yes, absolutely. Somebody could come on your website for the first time, click a button, and become a client. I just want you to know that that's a low percentage of the time, really low. We're probably talking about easily less than 5%. I'm not trying to scare you guys. I'm trying to get you to understand we need to have objectives, not just an overall goal. So if you're thinking about, someone's just going to come on my website, doesn't even know me, because this is the important part. Coaches think somebody's going to come on a website, they don't even know you, and they're going to click a button and become a client. That's unrealistic. We all get that, right? So our overall goal is to get clients. I'm not saying that it's not. It's the reason why you go into business is to get clients and to make money, right? So it's to get clients and presumably what? And make money, because you can't just get free people. You got to make money. So we got an overall goal that we're trying to get. Now, to get to getting clients, what do you need? Well, I'll show you what you need. What do you need to get to that goal? A big portion of it is going to be relationship. And when I say relationship, because we're in a relational business, that means that they need to trust you. That means they need to like you. And they should believe that there is a certain level of expertise that helps them get results. You're going to help them get a result. First time that they come on their website, your website, and let's say that they don't even know you, what is the likelihood that they're going to click that button and become a client? Well, you'd have to have a pretty impressive website for them to just click on that button and they don't even know you, right? So since we know that, what do we need? What do we need to do about it? Well, we know that we've got to build a relationship with them. That's going to be the vehicle to them becoming a client. The other side that we have to understand is that on the client side, even if they love your website and everything else, there needs to be readiness. That's what's true for some of you who are tuning in tonight. I got forwarded an email today from someone who has been in our email list for 7 years. 7 years. And hasn't taken that first step of even getting trained and certified. So if you are watching me and it's been 7 years, isn't it about time? Right? Just do it. It's up here if you haven't done it yet. But for the rest of you, probably haven't been tuning in for 7 years thinking about becoming a coach. What do we need to understand? There is something has to happen before someone gets to a degree of readiness. Like, for instance, you might have been tuning in here for a while, listening, and maybe you took our free course or whatever, but there's certain things that have to happen in your life before you are ready to do something. That's true for some of you who have gotten trained and certified. You know, when it comes to readiness, something critical had to take place. And what I like to say is that the pain point, the pain threshold has been hit. And then you wanted to become a coach at that point. It's the exact same thing. Both of these have to be in order. There needs to be a relationship. Trust has to hit a certain threshold. Likability has to hit a threshold. They have to believe that you can help them. And you know what? We have to say that pain, they have hit a threshold with pain, that they can't stay there any longer. And it's gotten critical. All of these factors have to be checked off before somebody becomes a client. So it is possible somebody comes on your website, they love you, they love what you have to say, but they're just not ready yet. So that's why the goal of your website, your overall goal might be to get clients. But if you want to get a client, what are you going to do about these people who aren't ready yet? What are you going to do about these people who don't have a relationship with you? Here's what you do. That means that even though your goal is to get clients, you got to have some objectives. And primary objective that you're going to have, it is the number one objective, is that your website has to help you nurture relationship. And how are you going to nurture a relationship with people? It's going to be in what you offer from that web page. What are you going to offer through that web page? Well, here's how you do that. I'm going to nurture a relationship so that, and two things that I want to do out of nurturing a relationship. One is to build rapport, which is this side right here. I'm going to build rapport. So all of those things, I'm going to use my website to do that. And then the other thing that I want to do is I want to help them get ready. That's what I want to do. I want to try to increase the chances that they're going to get ready. So what am I going to offer out of my website? First thing that I'm going to offer out of my website, I'm going to offer an opt-in. And you can offer numerous opt-ins for what? It's an exchange. An opt-in is an exchange. In its most basic sense, what we are going to exchange is contact info for help. Or you can say your expertise. So an opt-in is going to be a lot of different things. It might be an email list, and all of you should have an email list that you're going to have subscribers on. Not to send them emails all the time of, do you want to be a client? Do you want a coach? That's not what you're going to do. You're not going to email bomb people. You know what you are going to do? You are going to send them valuable stuff. So all that you send them through email better be valuable. So when they come on your website, there needs to be what we call calls to action. And that means that maybe today they're not ready to buy anything from you, but they will give you their contact info for help. So how are you going to do that? An opt-in, you're going to have maybe an email list. What else can you have? You know, you can have some kind of a free tool that when they exchange their information with you, I would make sure that this is instant. Could be a report. Could be 5 ways to Let me go over to Paul Steen's actually on the thing tonight. He's on the live with us tonight. Let me see if I can find Paul's website really quick. It is, and he's in process. I know that, but I just want to show you even what that would look like. Oh, wait. Well, let me go over here because I know that one of our coaches just this past week got his website up and going. And what do you have at the top? This is what we're working on with this particular coach right now. Do you see what this is right now? Are you looking at this with me? This is an opt-in. What is the opt-in? What are they going to get? They are going to get an ebook called Unshakable Confidence. When they click this button, then they are going to enter their email address, and now there's going to be an exchange. We're going to get that person's name, we're going to get that person's email, and we might even get that person's phone number if they want to share that information. In response to that, we're going to give them a book. This is what this Paul, there's two Pauls on the call tonight, has worked on. See that? Look at that. He's also got it as an opt-in later on his webpage. Lack of confidence is the one thing holding you back from living your life's true purpose. This is the ultimate guide for people who want to progress further in life with unstoppable self-confidence. See how this looks? Name, email, get the ebook. Now, what's the assumption in this thing? When I look at this, high value. They need to look at this and it be something that they want. And this looks legit. It doesn't look like it's well made. It's attractive when you look at it. And so it's like, okay, I'd like to have the secrets to living your most authentic self. I'm down with that. All I've got to do is give you my name and email address. I'm intrigued. This is going to help me get ready in my life to change it. But it's also going to be like, let me see what this guy's got. Let me see what she's got in her coaching repertoire. And what does that allow you to do? Exchange makes them feel good. I gave you my email address. You didn't spam me. You did what you said that you were going to do. This book is really helpful. It's valuable. Don't give people crappy stuff. Give them good stuff, because when they see all of this and they download it, if it's just simply an upsell, if it's something that has no good quality about it at all, if it's something full of like a bunch of grammatical errors and everything else, you're doing yourself a disservice and you're wasting their time. But if it's done well, what is that going to do for you? Well, if it's done well, what that's going to do is it's going to build rapport with people. You're inviting people into a relationship with you. So first thing that you're going to include on your website, if you want to build this, if your ultimate goal is to get clients and to make money, then you have to have an objective of nurturing a relationship with people. Email lists are the easiest way to do that. And so in my email list, that's what the initial exchange is going to be. That's going to encourage them to join my email list. Don't have a button that says, subscribe for updates, subscribe to my email list. People don't want that. They want you to give them something of value. Now, here's the thing. They leave your website, but you still have their email address. And sometimes people will forget about things. They'll forget about where your website is. They didn't save it in a bookmark or anything else. So what you do then, you have a strategy of nurturing a relationship with people. And so every email that you're writing, I want you to think that every email that you're writing, I am writing this email to build trust with this person. I am writing this email to help them. I'm writing this email to nurture a relationship with them. I'm writing this email talking about the pain points that they have in their life, with the hope that if I help them enough, the day that they are ready, they're going to be coming to me because I have been serving them in this way. So your website's got to have an end game of serving people as its motive, not just selling. So anything that you're doing, anything that you write, if you write blogs, I'm not saying that you have to. If you write articles, I'm not saying that you have to. If you make videos, not saying that you have to. But all of these things that we do, because I just want to give you ideas of how you nurture the relationship. One is going to be opt-ins. Another one's going to be articles. Another one is going to be tools that they can get in your website and they can actually download and they can utilize. Some of these are going to be videos, and even a bonus if it's live, because when people can see you live and engage with you, then they're automatically going to see the value of what you're bringing in a live capacity expand. Another thing that you can do is that you can do webinars, you can do Zooms, You can do anything. You can have on your website a free mini course or something like that. We have plenty of coaches who are doing those kinds of things. The objectives behind all of those things are to make these things right here happen. Relationship and readiness. That's what you're trying to do. So, what are we trying to accomplish ultimately in this? Let's see if I can get a slightly bigger marker here. Let's imagine that today this individual shows up on your website, but you want them to become a client. And sorry if I'm putting a dollar sign here, but that's a big part of the goal. This is where we want them to go. We want them to go from here to here. Day one, when they start, let's imagine that we've got blocks that get us there. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4. Sorry, my blocks aren't like equal like they're supposed to be. But let's say that today, anytime anybody comes on a website, they might be at 1, they might be at 2, they might be at 3, they might be at 4, but doubtful that most of them are going to be at 5. So let's imagine then, I'm going to change these colors up. Let's imagine that readiness is right here. They show up and they're on a scale of 1 to 5, they're ready at 3. But let's say that they show up, but they like you. And maybe they're at this. What we're trying to do with everything that we build out, everything that we offer, all we're trying to do is to move them to the next place. Which means that where I want to bring this person through my email list, through a webinar, through any of those other kinds of things, I'm trying to get them across that threshold right there. Just get them to that last part right here. That's what my focus is. And so anything that you do on your website has to have that as its objectives. It's not simply that they click on a button to get them to buy something. Now, having said that, because I've spent a lot of time already talking about this, so I can't go full extent because we don't have time for it. What we do is that we show you every component that you should be including in your website. We also show you, what what does marketing messaging look like? What are the components? You shouldn't be overwhelming people with the amount of content that you have on your web page. There should not be that many words. We're really talking about a couple of hundred words on a single web page, because so there's a lot of those different things that I just don't have time to show you. And what we do is that we show you how to do all of those things. Brand Camp, which is part of Jumpstart, includes the wireframe, and I walk you through step by step. But then we also on Wednesdays have a live group call. And what do we do during that call? We will analyze your website and we'll go through every component. And so I could show you tons of websites that we've helped our coaches design so that when their clients get on their webpage, it's clear who it is that they help and what problems that they help people solve. And that what we're doing is that your potential clients are coming on there and saying, what is my next step? Now, if your webpage is only like book a session right now, that's not what most people's next step is. Think about the process. The next step might be, I want to receive information from you. The next step might be, I'm just not ready yet, even though I like what you're offering. Well, let me help you with that. You know what I want to do? I want to stir the pot. I want to stir the pot on their readiness. I want them thinking about what it is that they want. I want to stir that frustration in them, because most people are not going to make a change unless they get frustrated enough about where they are right now. But I also want to be stirring interest. I always want to be nurturing relationships so that they see me as a helpful individual in their life. And those are the kinds of things that you're going to want to include on your webpage, on your website, in order to do that. So hopefully that's helpful. Let me say hello to a few more people. There is, where you at? There's Sandy from New Jersey. Who else do I need to say hello to? Dwight from Tuscaloosa. Okay, cool. All right. So let me go back, and you guys, again, you can throw your questions in the chat. I'm going to get to as many of them as I possibly can. And so let's look at this one really quick. What is the best way to accept payments, and can I accept payment plans? I think there's a little bit more onto this question. Let me see if I can look at it really quick so that I'm not missing the whole of the question. Um, it says, when it comes to accepting payments, what is the best way to do this? For example, if a client wants to do a 6-session package, is it best to have them pay up front for all 6 sessions? Paper session right before, or is it okay to accept payment plans? I want to be able to secure my funds to avoid a client backing out. If I do accept payment plans, is there a way to set them up automatically for the funds to be paid? I need some help navigating this. Well, the cool thing is that there's actually a lot of different services these days that offer it. Plenty more than there were when I started out. I think when we started out, we only had pretty much PayPal because everybody who was out there trying to do online payments were requiring all kinds of money to set your account up and everything else. And these days it's really easy. You can set up an account with anybody in most cases in seconds and give your banking information so that stuff can be transferred over there. But it's really gotten very simple these days. One of the most well-known payment processors that are out there. One of the biggest is Stripe. There's plenty of other ones out there. Obviously, PayPal is still out there and lurking around and doing things. What I did when I first started my business, uh, I had people paying me via check, and that's great when it comes to not getting processing fees. But I hated the awkwardness of, oh, I forgot my checkbook. Let me send it in the mail. Or, people who pay per session and all that other stuff. I got that out of my system really quickly in the very beginning. And I required subscription billing from the very beginning, where and this is a way, all of you can think about how you want to set this up in terms of how you receive payments. I always tell our coaches, as a good rule of thumb, at least get them to pay for the first month up front. We have some of our coaches who will ask for 3 months up front. I'm not saying that that's a requirement, but I am looking for commitment from the person. That's the most important thing. And getting paid before you have your first session. Now, I've never had in any of the clients that I've had over the years, I've never had anyone want to terminate the relationship and want a refund or any of that other stuff. Now, for me, I don't believe that you should give a refund on time spent with clients. If they've actually used the sessions, I don't think that anybody should offer a refund. You can't offer a guarantee, so you can't offer a refund on those things. But let's say that somebody paid up front for 3 months, and then halfway through something catastrophic happened in their life or whatever, and they couldn't use you anymore, then yeah, refund the unpaid sessions. But I'm looking for commitment from people. We need to see clients have skin in the game. And if somebody's wanting onesies and twosies, what do I mean by that? Like an individual session, or I want to pay for 2 sessions, or, I want to pay for a couple of sessions and then see how that goes and then come back. That's not commitment. You know what that is? It's a divided heart. And a person who has a divided heart about the matter of going after their thing is never going to get any results anyway. The uh, at the very least, I'm looking for a coaching client relationship that is a minimum of 90 days. That's the least in that I am looking for, and I would require from anyone. And at least getting paid on a monthly basis. If you get it set up, let's say you use Stripe or even PayPal, what happens is that they set all of their stuff up. They put it on a credit card. Yes, it is costing you 2.9% in interest plus a transaction fee, usually of around 30 cents. You lose that, but it's administrative stuff that you don't have to worry about. It goes in your account. You don't have to have an awkward conversation with them about payments or any of those other things. But again, we're looking for commitments from people. If they want onesies and twosies, I can't help them anyway. They're not committed to their transformation. You're looking for people who at least are willing to put 90 days into something, because there needs to be not only the self-work after belief systems. Usually it takes 90 days before you start seeing some of the self-sabotage start operating in someone's life. And so we're looking for that because, well, consistency. It's like planning. It's like it's like harvesting a field. When you harvest in October, why do I know these things? Because, well, at least that's the way it was. We had a lot of soybean fields around us when I was growing up. And so October, I believe, is when it was usually when September, October is when we would harvest the fields. Well, they were all around us. We lived in the middle of soybean fields. So they'd harvest around like September, October, but they planted many months before. And you know what they did? They did consistent action. They planted seeds and then they nurtured the seeds and they dealt with the pests that would come in trying to eat the things that were growing up. Because I can remember crop dusters coming over and all kinds of different things that they had to do until one day when everything is ready and then they harvest. You're not going to get a harvest out of 1 or 2 sessions. You're not going to get anything out of the first month. You'll get some momentum and everything, but you're not going to get lifestyle transformation until we go after belief systems and we have taken consistent action enough to now this becomes the default by which someone is operating out of their life. And so that's why we're looking at a minimum of 90 days. Don't waste your time with people who aren't committed, because they will not get transformation and it'll make you feel like you're a bad coach because they're not committed to it. You want somebody who is committed on the front end to at least 90 days because that's what it's going to require if somebody's going to get the change that they want in their life. And you as a business person don't need a flaky person who was only half-hearted and they're paying you each time that you're with them and you're wondering, well, are they going to pay me again? They're half in, if even that. So you know they won't get transformation. Plus, you're a business person. Who's got time for that stuff? If you went to any other service that's out there and you went into Verizon, you're like, well, I'm only looking for a month's worth of service. Well, they're probably going to say, well, we've got a prepaid plan, but it's going to cost you more, but go knock yourself out. You go for any service that's out there. No one's going to even go through the hassle of giving somebody something for a month. They don't even want to focus their customer service on people who aren't really committed. Who gives the best customer service? The clients and customers who give the best, the highest commitment also get the best service. So we kind of know this in the principles of business. And so we're looking for those things as well. So hopefully that's helpful. Let's see. Here's a big question. When would be a good time to finally break free of my day job so I can place my entire focus on my coaching business? Well, let's think about this. I think there is not one answer that fits every scenario that's out there. That's what my personal opinion is. And it would actually be dangerous and irresponsible of me to even say that there is a magic number or anything else. So let me reread the question one more time. When would be a good time? So from a time perspective, I can't really give you that. What I can say are the things that I tell my coaches to do when they are starting out with their business and everything else. Like, you've got to begin with the end in mind. I'm going to grab this thing that I go over during our life coach certification course. Matter of fact, I talked about some of these things in session 7 last week. And so you can see I still got a bunch of writing on it and everything else. And so hopefully that will load today. But let's talk about at least high level some of these things. The first thing is, and obviously it says your pricing, but this is what we've got to think about. Whatever you want to do in your business, you've got to start with a goal. So I can't tell you what's important for you or what steps you need to take or when. Well, what's your goal? Now, some of you, here's some big questions that are in this. How much do you need to make? Are you leaving the old job? Are you replacing income? Or are you just going to close income gaps? Because some of you who are listening tonight, you might be like, hey, I just want to be a part-time coach and have this as a side gig. That's what my goal was starting out. I never thought that I'd make enough money to leave my existing job. And how many hours can you presently give to this towards your goal? So if you begin with the end in sight, what you're able to do is that you're able to measure. Think about what any of you are learning right now in the training, if you're in that. We talk about SMART goals. It needs to be specific. It needs to be clear what that goal is. So it's easy when it comes to your business because you can do a number goal. You can say, here's the number I need to hit if I'm just being a part-time person. Here's the number I need to hit to replace my income, whatever that goal is. So I've got a specific goal and it's measurable and I can set milestones on it because at any given time, I can look at what I'm making on a monthly basis and know if I need to change my strategy because it's not helping me get there. The goal itself is going to create momentum for you and it's going to allow you to make the right steps towards that. So let me show you, though, how easy it is to, and this is real case scenario for me when I became a coach. Now, and I'm full disclosure on this because I don't really care. My full-time, whoops, that's not the right thing. My full-time job when I started out as a coach, my regular full-time job, I was making approximately $58,000 a year. And in just $58,000 a year, depending on where you live on the planet, that might sound really good. It wasn't in California, where my rent was anywhere between $2,500 to $3,000 a month. So what you're already talking about is almost half of that is being consumed by rent. So so that wasn't good. So my initial goal for me was just like, let me close the gaps on income. And obviously I have benefits with insurance and stuff like that were coming with that. So these are the things that you need to be thinking about right now, of not only, how much income to replace. Oh, I hate it when it gets too big. How much income to replace? Also, what are the overhead? Like right now, do you commute to work? Those kinds of things. There's soft costs that are involved with the job that you're taking right now. Job you're in right now, there's soft costs that are involved in all of those things, So you need to think about how much income you've got to replace and how much. So what you have right now is how much money to stay, because it's costing you money to stay wherever you are. And I'm throwing this 58K in there for us to think about those numbers. And then also what benefits do I have to replace? Like for me, that meant that I need to start paying for my own health insurance or something like that. So there's certain things like that are overall questions that we need to think about with regard to that 58K, right? 58K in general is about $30. It's less, but it's about $30 an hour. When I started out as a coach, my first client was $100 an hour. First client that I ever had, $100 an hour. And then I think my second client was $150 an hour. So when you think about that and you're working with them at least 4 times, and for those 4 times a month, then I'm already making 400 here and I'm already making 600 here. So off of 2 clients, I know that I'm already getting $1,000 a month that I'm making off of those people, right? Now, over here, to get to 58K at 30 an hour, well, how much is that a month? So if I do the quick math, that's less than 5K a month is what I've got to replace. Now, when I do the math on this, how much am I having to replace then if I want to break even? Well, that's pretty easy. 5K minus 1K is 4K. How easy is it going to be to get to 4K? Well, it's pretty simple. I can charge more or whatever. I can add more clients or whatever. But the reality is, to replace $30 an hour is actually pretty easy. You know why? Because when you do the math on it, for every 1 hour I work as a coach, it's taking me 3+ hours in my full-time job. That's why it's really easy to replace that. And it finally dawned on me one day that I was like, dude, I realized, because I remember going into work and I'd been handed a check from my client, and I was about to head to my work, and I looked at it and I'm like, I just made more money in an hour than it's going to take me to make all day at at my work. And this was just with one-on-one clients. So I started to reason it out a little bit. Man, that means to get to at this pay rate and everything else, I'm literally working a fraction of the time. I don't even have to work 40 hours a week to eclipse $60,000 a year. I mean, the simple math that I do on this thing, if I looked at this, how long does it take to replace that kind of income? How many hours? Well, let's do the math on that so that we kind of know, right? And stay with me. I'm not good at math. That's why it takes me a little bit longer, right? So to get to 5,000, it's taking 160 hours a month in the full-time job to get to 5,000, right? But full-time job to get to 5K. How long does it take me to get to 5K making $100 an hour? And I'm just going to go with a lower number, okay? So to get to 5K, 5,000 divided by 100 is only going to take me 50 hours a month to get to 5K. That's all it's going to take me. And I can charge more than that. I could work a couple of more hours. I can also open up other streams of income through online courses and group coaching and a lot of other things. That's what we show our coaches to do. So it's really a matter of wherever you are at, your goal has to be in line with replacing income and considering all of these things. And when you know what that goal is, and it may be that you want to make more than 5K, it may be a month, it may be that you want to make more money than you're making right now. Know what that number is. You need to go write it down. If you don't know what that number is, go and consider all of your lifestyle expenses and all of those other kinds of things and think in a realistic way, what is it going to require to make that kind of money? Now, I got to about 60 to 70% of that income, and I chose to leave at that point. And I bet on myself. Now, there's a couple of things that I did along the way before I made the switch. First thing that I did is that I looked at what were things going to cost me with regard to what benefits was I getting for paying insurance and everything else. How much more was it going to cost me, or would it cost me more money to leave my current job and go full time? Because what you'll find is that there's soft costs involved with staying full time that you might actually start saving money immediately, because you're like, oh, well, I'm not having to pay for gas over here anymore because I'm a virtual coach. Now I'm not having to do all of these other things. So you start saving money immediately there. I cut some of my expenses. I made some, I invested in some debt relief. If I had any, I had very little debt. I had already been working on that process, so I didn't have a lot of monthly debt to work with. And I looked at those things to say, hey, how close can I get? I know I'm leaving, and it's going to be around 70%, but there's a smaller gap to close from 50% to 70%, or 70% to 80%, or whatever. So I decided somewhere around 70%. This is worth the risk, because when I got to 70%, then, well, now I'm not trying to close 5K. I'm trying to close something like 1.5, $1,500 or whatever. I'm like, well, that would be actually easy to close, 1,000 or 1,500 or whatever. That's not really hard. It's doable. And it's not going to take me a lot of hours to do that once I find a couple of clients or whatever. So those are the kinds of things that I did as a lead up. Do some people quit their job way before then? Yes. Some people, it all depends on your financial situation. What do you have? And I'm a pretty risk averse person. Most of you who are listening to me tonight, I know you're risk averse people because I know what the average wiring of a coach is. If you've got savings, there's a lot of different things to consider. What I say is don't quit too early and don't put yourself in a stressful situation where you're in a sell or starve mentality. If it takes you a couple of extra months, if it takes you 6 months, do it the right way. I got to that point and I had a lot of considerations because I had a wife and kids and a lot riding on those decisions. And I talked about those things with my spouse before we ultimately made that decision, where we felt really comfortable, prayed about it, all of those things. I would encourage you guys to do all of those things and knowing your numbers, so that even right now you're taking steps to getting financially free so that you can leave your job if that's what your end game is. Um, let's see, what else did I see in here that I need to answer? Let me look in the chat really quick. Looking over at the chat. Could I start a coaching biz in two different niches for separate audiences? One would be a side hustle and the other one would be long-term soul calling, or do I focus in on one first? Well, I don't think that you should ever start with multiple niches, because you'll have a divided heart, you will have a divided mind, and it'll be really hard to be consistent. Think about it like this. Amazon.com, when they started in these days, we know that they are selling everything. When Amazon.com started, what were they selling? And most people will answer it with books, but that's not the right answer. It wasn't just books, it was textbooks, but not just textbooks, used textbooks, a very specific niche that they started with. And when they got really good at serving that niche, then they added more. So which one do you start with? Well, I think that you start with the one that you said, my long-term soul calling. Why would you choose something that's not that? Why wouldn't you choose the problems that you're most passionate about and the people that you're most passionate about? Now you're going to have a convincing website, because you're going to convince me if your heart's engaged in it. And you're also going to do your best work, and you're going to have a lot to say about it as you're developing content. If you're using social media, your website's going to be phenomenal because you know what makes these people tick and you know what they want and you understand the pain points and everything else. You'll be brilliant at it and you'll be amazing. So when you put yourself out there, think about it like dating. You can only date one person at a time if you're ethical. So think about niches. You're dating one niche at a time, and you're very focused on what that niche's problems are and what their needs are and wants and all of those other things. And as you go along, well, you can expand, and you can add some other things that are out there. But I don't think that you should be starting out of the gate by literally confusing everyone on who it is that you help and what problems that you solve. I'll say this again for all of you who are trying to come out of the gate, and you want to you want to work with clients, you want to do all of these different kinds of things and everything else. Let me tell you, don't confuse people and don't find yourself in scarcity because you're afraid to choose one particular niche to start out. I watch coaches make this mistake all the time, where let me just throw the whole kitchen sink at this thing, and maybe I find someone. If you throw the kitchen sink and you try to serve everybody, you won't serve anyone. So choose one niche and make it specific, and make your website around that, and be brilliant at who it is that you're helping. And then you'll notice that you created a door with a sign on it that attracts people, rather than it having a giant front door that has no sign over it. For those of you who have not gotten trained and certified as a coach, the best thing that I can offer you is our Jumpstart program. It's $97 a month with a 3-month minimum commitment. You get trained, you get certified, and we give you the A to Z business development roadmap so that you can be successful. If this has been helpful for you tonight at all, can you imagine what goodies that we have in store for you? Because it's really important for you to know that I have been really successful as a coach, and I've made over $1 million online. And I'm only telling you that so that you know that who you're learning from has actually been successful, not only in knowing how to coach people, but actually being successful in business. And that's not true for a lot of the people who are teaching coaching out there. So, what's included inside of Jumpstart? Well, the Life Coach Certification course includes Tuesday night live training, though it is also a self-paced program, so that when you enroll, you get access to the 7 core modules that I also teach on every Tuesday night with live with coaches. That also includes a live Q&A and live coaching demos, so that not only are you learning the information, you have accountability and you have a relationship with other coaches who are aspiring coaches, and you can get your questions answered in real time from me. Oh, don't pay any attention to July 2023. That should actually say this month is our live coaching boot camp. It's also included in our Jumpstart program. You'll get all 7 sessions, and we'll knock them out in a single weekend, and you can get trained and certified in an accelerated format. Tonight we talked a bit about branding. I include all of everything that I said with a lot of tools and all of the steps, from everything from how to write an email to how to develop your website, search engine optimization, how to write a sales page, all kinds of tools and bonuses. All of that, again, is included in the overall bundle, Jumpstart Your Coaching Practice. We also have the coaching product launch blueprint. So I want you to know that there are a lot of streams of income for your business, not just one-on-ones. And so I give you 8 sessions. It's 10 hours of walkthrough to show you how to go from zero to launching your business. All of these things included inside of Jumpstart. It's $3.25 a day. That's less money than what you are spending currently on coffee or tea probably right now. And it's completely worth it. It's about $10,000 a month worth of information and training and hands-on. You get live Tuesdays. You get all of the stuff that we have here. And also on Wednesdays, there's a live group coaching call where we connect with the other coaches in the Jumpstart program. We celebrate wins, and we give you feedback on anything that you're working on. You don't have to do this alone. And most of the programs that are out there give you a vague notion of how you can actually be successful in business. We focus really heavily on business because we don't want you just to know how to coach. We want to see proficient coaches who are also thriving as business people. That's what our commitment to you is. And we want to walk alongside you. Look inside the description of this video. The link is there, and you can get enrolled in about 90 seconds. Let me see if there's anything. Anybody else I need to say hello to? I think that we're good on it. So jump inside of the description of this video, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook, get enrolled. We want to walk alongside you. Tomorrow is session 1 of the Life Coach Certification course. You can join us. You got nothing done? Join us. Get enrolled. Join us tomorrow night, or you can jump in and go self-paced if you want to do that. But it's perfect timing. Like, everything is aligned for you to be able to start even tonight. So again, listen, I appreciate you guys all immensely. Have a great rest of your week and take care.